Ambassador Elena Vasquez walked slowly through the massive halls of the Galactic Council building. Her black shoes made soft clicking sounds on the smooth crystal floor. The walls around her were made of some kind of glowing stone that she had never seen before. It gave off a cold blue light that made everything look strange and unwelcoming. Elena had been to this place many times over the past 3 years. Each visit had been part of humanity's long journey to join the Galactic Council. Earth wanted to be part of the bigger galaxy. They wanted to trade with other worlds and learn from older civilizations. Elena had worked hard to make this dream come true, but today felt different. Today felt wrong. The message from the council had come just 2 days ago. It was short and direct. The council wanted to see her for what they called a final assessment. Elena knew that this meeting would decide whether humans could join the galaxy's most important group. As she walked, Elena thought about her home planet. Earth was far away, many light years from this cold place. She thought about the blue oceans and green forests. She thought about the billions of people who were counting on her to do the right thing. Elena reached the main chamber doors. They were huge, made of the same glowing crystal as the walls. 2 alien guards stood beside the doors. They looked like giant insects with 4 arms each. Their eyes were black and shiny. They did not speak to Elena, but one of them pressed a button on the wall. The doors opened with a deep humming sound. The chamber inside was enormous. The ceiling was so high that Elena could barely see it in the blue light. 12 large seats were arranged in a circle around the center of the room. Each seat was different, made to fit the body of a different alien species. 11 of the 12 seats were filled. Elena had met all of these beings before. The Zephyrians looked like tall ghosts made of clear glass. The Kavari were covered in thick fur and had long claws. The Thermic looked like living rocks with glowing cracks between their stone pieces. Each species was older than humanity. Each had been traveling between stars for thousands of years before. Humans had even learned to make fire. In the center of the circle was a small platform. This was where Elena was supposed to stand. She walked to the platform and stepped up. The 12 council members looked down at her. Elena felt very small in this huge room surrounded by these ancient beings. The Zephyrian council speaker stood up. Its body was almost see-through, like looking through water. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind blowing through caves. Ambassador Elena Vasquez of the species called humans, the speaker said. You have come before this council many times. You have asked for your people to join our great alliance. Today we will give you our final answer. Elena nodded. I am ready to hear what the council has decided. The speaker's form shimmered. Elena could not tell if this meant the alien was happy or angry or something else. The council has watched your species for 3 years, the speaker continued. We have seen your ships. We have seen your weapons. We have seen how quickly you learn and how fast you grow stronger. Elena felt a cold feeling in her stomach. The way the speaker talked about human weapons did not sound good. Your species is very young, said another council member. This one was a Thermic, its rocky body glowing orange in the dim light. Young species often make mistakes. Big mistakes that hurt others. Humans have shown that we want peace, Elena said. We have followed every rule the council gave us. We have not attacked anyone. We have only defended ourselves when others attacked us first. Yes, said the Zephyrian speaker, but defense requires weapons. And weapons can be used for attack as well as defense. This makes the council worried. Elena looked around the circle of alien faces. She was starting to understand what was happening, and she did not like it. What exactly is the council worried about? She asked. A new voice spoke. It belonged to a Kavari, a bear-like creature with silver fur. Your people build very good weapons very fast. 3 years ago, human ships were slow and weak. Now they are almost as good as ours. This is unusual. Humans learn quickly, Elena said. Is that a bad thing? It can be, said the Thermic. Quick learning can lead to quick fighting? The galaxy has seen this before with young species. The Zephyrian speaker moved forward. Its ghostly form seemed to float rather than walk. The Council has decided to offer humanity a choice, the speaker said. A test, you could say, Elena waited. She had a feeling she was not going to like this test. If humans truly want peace, the speaker continued, then they will not need weapons. The Council offers to protect humanity. We will keep you safe. In return, you must prove your peaceful intentions. How? Elena asked, though she already feared the answer. Humanity must destroy all military ships, all weapons. All soldiers must return to being farmers and workers. The Council will send ships to watch over human worlds. We will keep you safe from any threats. Elena stared at the speaker. You want us to make ourselves completely helpless and trust you to protect us? If you truly seek peace, this should not be difficult, said the Kavari. Elena felt anger building inside her chest. This was not a test. This was a trap. And if we refuse? She asked. The speaker's form shimmered again. Then the Council will assume that humans plan to use their weapons for attack. Young, aggressive species cannot be allowed to threaten the peace of the galaxy. That sounds like a threat, Elena said. It is reality, said the Thermic. The Council has kept peace in this galaxy for 10,000 years. We will not let one young species destroy that peace. Elena looked around the circle again. She saw the same expression on every alien face. They had already decided. This whole meeting was just a show. They were going to get rid of humanity one way or another. How long do we have to decide? Elena asked. You have 7 days, said the speaker. Return to us with your answer. Choose wisely, Ambassador. The future of your species depends on it. Elena nodded slowly. I understand. I will take your offer back to Earth. Good, said the speaker. This meeting is finished. Elena turned and walked back toward the huge doors. Her mind was racing. 7 days to choose between slavery and destruction. 7 days to find a way out of this trap. As she reached the doors, Elena heard one of the council members whisper to another. The words were in an alien language, but Elena's translator picked them up. The humans will refuse, the voice said. They are too proud to accept protection. Then we will have our excuse, another voice replied. The galaxy will understand why we had to act. Elena kept walking, but her hands clenched into fists. They were not even trying to hide it anymore. This was all planned. The Council wanted humanity gone, and they were just looking for a way to justify it. Elena reached her small ship in the Council's landing area. As she climbed inside, she made a decision. She would return to Earth and deliver the Council's message. But she would also do something else. She would find out why the Council really wanted humanity destroyed. And then she would make them regret it. The ship's engines started with a quiet hum. Elena set course for Earth, her mind already working on a plan. The Council thought they were dealing with a helpless young species. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Elena's ship moved through space toward Earth. The journey would take 4 days, even with the fastest human engines. As she traveled, Elena could not stop thinking about the Council's words. Something felt very wrong about the whole situation. She sat in her small cabin and opened her computer. Elena had learned to be careful during her 3 years as Earth's ambassador. She always kept copies of everything. Every message, every meeting record, every piece of information that might be important later. Now she was glad she had been so careful. Elena started reading through old messages from the Council. She looked for patterns, for clues about what was really happening. Hours passed as she read through hundreds of documents. Then she found something strange. 3 months ago, the Council had received a report about the Kavari Empire. Elena remembered the Kavari from the meeting. They were the bear-like aliens with silver fur. According to the report, the Kavari had been expanding their territory. They had taken over 6 small planets in the past year, but the Council had done nothing about it. Elena kept reading. The Kavari had not asked permission before taking these worlds. They had simply attacked and conquered them. The species living on those planets had asked the Council for help. The Council had said they would look into the matter. That was 3 months ago. Nothing had been done since then. Elena felt confused. If the council was so worried about young, aggressive species, why were they ignoring the Kavari's attacks? The Kavari were a council member. They had been part of the group for over 2,000 years. She kept searching through the files. Elena found more reports. The Kavari had been expanding for the past 5 years. They had taken over 23 worlds in total. Each time, the council had done nothing. They always said they were investigating or considering options. But when humans defended themselves from pirates, the council called it aggressive behavior. Elena felt anger growing in her chest. This was not fair. This was not justice. She opened another file. This one was marked as a private communication between council members. Elena was not supposed to have access to these files, but her computer skills were better than most aliens realized. The message was from the Zephyrian speaker to the thermic representative. It was dated 2 weeks ago. The human problem grows. Worse each day, the message said. Their technology advances too quickly. Soon they will be as strong as us. We must act before they become too powerful to stop. Elena read the message again. Human problem. She kept reading. The Kavari expansion gives us the perfect excuse, the message continued. We can blame human aggression for the current instability. The galaxy will support us if they believe humans are the real threat. Elena's hands shook as she read. The council was planning to blame humans for the Kavari attacks. They were going to lie to the entire galaxy. She found more messages, dozens of them, all from the past 6 months, all talking about the human problem and how to solve it. In one message, the thermic representative wrote, "Humans learn too fast. In 10 years, they may be stronger than any council species. We cannot allow this." Another message from the Kavari representative said, "My people need more worlds. The humans have many good planets. Once the council removes them, we can claim their territory." Elena felt sick. The council members were already dividing up human worlds. They were treating Earth and its colonies like prizes to be won. She found a message that made her even more angry. It was from the Zephyrian speaker to all council members. "The vote is decided," it said. 11 members agree that humans must be removed. The decision was made before we called the ambassador for her final meeting. The ultimatum is just for show. It will make our actions look justified to the rest of the galaxy. Elena stared at the screen. The council had already decided to destroy humanity. Her meeting with them had been meaningless. No matter what she said, no matter what choice she made, they were going to attack Earth. She kept reading through the messages. The plan was bigger than she had thought. The council was going to announce that humans had become a threat to galactic peace. They would show evidence of human weapons and ships. They would claim that humans were planning to attack other species, but Elena knew the evidence would be fake. The messages talked about creating documentation and preparing proof of human aggression. Then the council would ask all member species to join together to stop the human threat. Any species that refused would be called human collaborators and face punishment. After the attack, the Kavari would take most human worlds. Other council members would split the rest. The council would tell the galaxy that they had saved everyone from a terrible war. Elena closed her computer and leaned back in her chair. She felt tired and angry and scared all at the same time. For 3 years, she had worked to make peace between humans and the council. She had believed that the council wanted justice and fairness for all species. She had trusted them. Now she knew the truth. The council was not interested in peace. They were interested in power. They saw humans as a threat to their control. So they planned to destroy humanity before it could grow stronger, but Elena had found their secret messages. She had proof of their lies. The question was, what could she do with this information? Elena stood up and walked to the small window in her cabin. Outside, she could see the stars. Somewhere among those stars was Earth, her home, the planet where billions of humans lived and worked and loved and hoped for a better future. Those people were counting on her to save them. But how could one human diplomat fight against 12 powerful alien species? Elena thought about the messages she had read. The council was planning to lie to the galaxy. They were going to claim that humans were the aggressors. But Elena had proof that this was not true. What if she could show this proof to other species? What if she could reveal the Council's lies before they could act? Elena sat back down at her computer. She started copying all the secret messages she had found. She organized them by date and topic. She wrote notes explaining what each message meant. The Council thought they were clever. They thought no one would discover their plan. But they had made one mistake. They had underestimated human determination. Elena worked for hours, preparing everything. She made copies of all the evidence and hid them in different parts of her ship's computer. If something happened to one copy, the others would survive. When she was finished, Elena looked at what she had created. It was a complete record of the Council's deception. It showed how they had planned to destroy humanity and steal human worlds. It proved that the Council had lied about human aggression, but Elena knew that having proof was not enough. She needed to use it correctly. She needed to find the right moment and the right way to reveal the truth. The Council expected her to return with either submission or defiance. They were prepared for both responses. What they were not prepared for was the truth, Elena smiled. For the first time since leaving the Council chambers, the Council members thought they were playing a game where they knew all the rules. They thought they had already won. They were about to learn that humans did not give up easily. And they were about to discover that sometimes the best defense was a devastating attack on the enemy's lies. Elena set course for Earth, but she was already planning her return to the Council chambers. When she came back, she would not be carrying humanity's surrender or humanity's defiance. She would be carrying the truth. And the truth was going to shock the galaxy. Elena stood once again on the platform in the center of the Council chambers. 7 days had passed since the Council gave humanity their ultimatum. 7 days for Elena to return to Earth, discuss the choice with human leaders, and come back with an answer. But Elena had spent those 7 days doing something much more important. She had prepared for war. Not a war with weapons and ships, but a war with truth against lies. The 12 Council members sat in their circle, looking down. At her, they appeared calm and confident. Elena could see in their alien faces that they believed they had already won. They thought Elena would either surrender humanity's freedom or give them an excuse to attack. They were wrong. The Zephyrian speaker stood up, its ghostly form shimmering in the blue light of the chamber. Ambassador Elena Vasquez, the speaker sighed. You have returned? Have you brought humanity's answer to our generous offer? Elena looked around the circle of alien faces. Each species represented thousands of years of civilization. Each had conquered stars and built empires. Each believed they were superior to young humanity. I have brought humanity's answer, Elena said. Her voice was calm and clear. But first, I have some questions. The speaker's form flickered. This was not what they expected. Questions? The speaker asked. The time for questions is over. We require only your answer. I think the galaxy deserves to hear these questions, Elena said. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small device. I hope you do not mind that I am recording this meeting. My people will want to know exactly what was said here today. Several Council members shifted in their seats. The Kavari representative growled low in his throat. Recording is not necessary, the Thermic representative said, its rocky body glowing brighter. This is a simple matter. Give us your answer. But it is not simple, Elena said. You see, I have spent the past week learning some very interesting things about the Council and its members. Elena activated her device. A holographic display appeared in the air above her head. The display showed a map of the galaxy with different colored dots marking different species' territories. This map shows galactic territory as it was 5 years ago, Elena said. The red dots are Kavari worlds. Please notice how many there are. The Council members looked at the display. The Kavari representative's fur bristled. Elena pressed a button on her device. The map changed. This map shows galactic territory today, she said. Notice how the red dots have grown. The Kavari Empire now controls 23 more worlds than they did 5 years ago. The Zephyrian speaker moved forward. What is your point, Ambassador? My point is that one of your own council members has been conquering other species for 5 years, Elena said. But you have done nothing to stop them. You talk about young aggressive species being dangerous, but you ignore the aggression of your own members. The Kavari expansion is not your concern, the thermic representative said. Is it not? Elena asked. She pressed another button. New information appeared on the display. These are the species that lived on those 23 worlds before the Kavari took them, 47 billion people. All now under Kavari rule. All conquered without council permission. Elena looked directly at the Kavari representative. Tell me, Councillor Grex, did your people ask permission before attacking the Helix colonies? Or the Rimward Federation? Or any of the other species? You have conquered? Councillor Grex stood up, his claws extended. How dare you question Kavari actions? We are a founding member of this council. That is exactly my point, Elena said. You are a founding member, so you can conquer whoever you want. But humans who have never attacked anyone except in self-defense are called aggressive. The speaker's form shimmered rapidly. This discussion is not relevant to— It is completely relevant, Elena interrupted. She pressed another button on her device. Because I have discovered something very interesting about this council's real plans. New text appeared on the holographic display. Elena had translated the alien writing into common galactic script, so everyone could read it. This is a message from Speaker Zix to Councillor Thrain, Elena said. Sent 2 weeks ago. I will read it aloud. The human problem grows worse each day. Their technology advances too quickly. Soon they will be as strong. As us, we must act before they become too powerful to stop. The chamber fell silent. The speaker's ghostly form stopped shimmering. Elena continued reading. The Kavari expansion gives us the perfect excuse. We can blame human aggression for the current instability. The galaxy will support us if they believe humans are the real threat. She looked up from the display. This is your own message, Speaker Zix. You wrote these words. Where did you get that? The speaker demanded. Those communications are private. They were private, Elena said. But humans are very good with technology. We learn quickly, remember? That is what scares you so much. Elena pressed another button. More messages appeared on the display. Here is another message, she said. This one from Councillor Thrain to all council members. The vote is decided. 11 members agree that humans must be removed. The decision was made before we called the ambassador for her final meeting. The ultimatum is just for show. Elena looked around the circle. Several council members were standing now, their alien faces showing anger and fear. You decided to destroy humanity before you even gave us your ultimatum, Elena said. This entire meeting was meaningless. You were always planning to attack us. You have no right to spy on council communications. The thermic representative shouted. And you have no right to plan genocide, Elena replied. But I am not finished yet. She pressed another button. A new message appeared. This message is from Councillor Grex to Speaker Zix, Elena said. My people need more worlds. The humans have many good planets. Once the council removes them, we can claim their territory. Elena looked directly at the Kavari representative. You were planning to steal our worlds after you destroyed us. You and your council friends were going to divide up human space like a prize. This is outrageous, Councillor Grex roared. I demand you stop this immediately. Why? Elena asked. Are you embarrassed that the galaxy is learning the truth about you? Elena pressed her device one more time. The holographic display changed to show a live transmission symbol. By the way, she said calmly, this entire meeting is being broadcast live across the galaxy. Every species with communication technology is watching this right now. The council members stared at her in shock. The speaker's form flickered rapidly. You cannot do this, the speaker said. This is a private council meeting. You made it public when you decided to lie to the galaxy about humanity, Elena said. Every species in the galaxy deserves to know what kind of leaders they have been following. Elena turned to face the holographic transmission symbol directly. "People of the galaxy," she said. "You have heard the truth today. The council that claims to protect peace has been planning war. The council that talks about justice has been planning theft. The council that fears young, aggressive species has been ignoring the aggression of its own members for years." She turned back to face the council. "The Kavari Empire has conquered 47 billion people in 5 years," Elena said. "But the council calls humans aggressive for defending ourselves against pirates. The council secretly plans to destroy entire species, but they claim to protect galactic peace." Elena's voice grew stronger. "Humanity rejects your ultimatum," she said. "We reject your lies. We reject your authority. And we challenge your right to rule this galaxy." She looked around the circle of alien faces. "You are not protectors of peace," Elena said. "You are not champions of justice. You are bullies who have grown fat and lazy on power. You fear humanity not because we are aggressive, but because we represent everything you have forgotten how to be." Elena's voice echoed through the chamber. "We are honest. We are brave. We keep our promises. We protect the weak instead of conquering them. We build instead of steal. We grow stronger through learning, not through fear." She paused, looking directly at each council member. "The galaxy is watching you now," Elena said. "They have heard your lies. They have seen your plans. They know what you really are." Elena picked up her device and turned toward the chamber doors. "Humanities, answer to your ultimatum is simple," she said. "Come and try to take our freedom. But know that the galaxy is watching, and the galaxy will remember who the real aggressors are." Elena walked toward the doors, leaving 12 powerful aliens sitting in stunned silence. Behind her, she could hear alien voices beginning to shout and argue. The galaxy had heard the truth. Now everything would change. Elena walked out of the council chambers knowing that everything had changed. Behind her, she could hear angry alien voices shouting at each other. The council members were no longer united. They were scared and angry and turning on each other. But Elena did not stop to listen. She had work to do. As she reached her ship, Elena's communication device began making noise. Messages were coming in from all across the galaxy. Her broadcast had reached every world, every species, every government that had communication technology. The galaxy was waking up. Elena climbed into her ship and started the engines. As she lifted off from the council world, she opened her communication channels. The first message was from Admiral Chun, the head of Earth's space fleet. "Elena, what the hell did you just do?" Admiral Chun's voice crackled through the speakers. "Every news service in the galaxy is talking about your speech. The council is calling for your arrest." "Good," Elena said. "Let them try." "Did Earth's government see the broadcast?" "The whole planet saw it," Admiral Chun replied. "President Martinez wants to talk to you immediately. Half the government is calling you a hero. The other half thinks you just started a war." "The war was always coming," Elena said. "At least now everyone knows who really started it." Elena closed the channel with Admiral Chun and opened another message. This one was from Ambassador Cass of the Helix colonies. The Helix were one of the species the Kavari had conquered 2 years ago. "Ambassador Vasquez," the message said, "your broadcast has given our people hope for the first time in 2 years. The Council told us that our conquest was necessary for galactic peace. Now we know they lied. Our resistance fighters are already moving. The Kavari will not hold our worlds much longer," Elena smiled. This was exactly what she had hoped would happen. Another message came in. This one was from the Rimwood Federation, another species conquered by the Kavari. "The truth you revealed changes everything," the message said. "We have been planning rebellion for months. Now we have the proof we needed to show other species that the Council cannot be trusted. You have lit a fire that will burn across the galaxy." Elena's communication device kept making noise as more messages arrived. Species after species was reaching out to thank her for revealing the truth. Many were talking about rebellion. Others were demanding answers from their own governments about why they had supported the Council for so long, but the most important messages were coming from members of the council itself. The first was from the Alterian Republic. The Alterians were tall, thin beings with silver skin. They had been council members for over 3,000 years. Ambassador Vasquez, the message said, the Alterian government has seen your evidence. We are horrified by what our representatives have done in our name. We are immediately recalling our council member and demanding a full investigation. Elena felt hope growing in her chest. If council members started turning against each other, the corrupt alliance would fall apart. Another message came from the Synthetic Collective, a group of artificial intelligences that had joined the council 500 years ago. The evidence you presented shows clear violation of council charter principles, the message said. The Synthetic Collective is withdrawing from all council votes until these violations are investigated. We demand the immediate resignation of all council members involved in this conspiracy. Elena laughed out loud. The artificial intelligences were some of the most logical beings in the galaxy. If they said the council was breaking its own rules, other species would listen. As Elena's ship traveled through space toward Earth, more messages kept coming. The galaxy was in chaos, but it was the good kind of chaos. It was the chaos of people waking up and demanding change. The best message came from an unexpected source. It was from Counselor Vex of the Draconic clans. The Draconics were massive reptilian beings who had been council members for over 4,000 years. Counselor Vex had been one of the 11 members who voted to destroy humanity. Ambassador Vasquez, the message said, I have made a terrible mistake. The speaker and others convinced me that humans were a threat to galactic peace. I see now that the real threat was our own corruption and fear. I am resigning from the council immediately. My clans will no longer support this criminal organization. Elena could hardly believe it. One of the conspirators was confessing and abandoning the council. If more council members followed his example, the conspiracy would collapse completely, but Elena knew the remaining council members would not give up easily. They would try to fight back, though she was right. The next message was from Speaker Zix itself. Ambassador Vasquez, the speaker's cold voice said, you have made a grave error. You have released classified information and interfered with council business. The council hereby declares you a criminal. Any species that harbors you will be considered an enemy of galactic peace. Elena deleted the message without finishing it. The speaker's threats meant nothing now. The galaxy had seen the truth. Elena opened another channel and sent a message to every species in the galaxy. People of the galaxy, she said, this is Ambassador Elena Vasquez. You have heard the council's threats against me and against any species that supports humanity. These threats prove exactly what I told you. The council rules through fear, not through justice. Elena paused, choosing her words carefully. But we do not have to be afraid anymore, she continued. The council's power comes from our belief that they deserve to rule us. Once we stop believing that they become just another group of bullies trying to control people who are stronger than them. Elena thought about all the messages she had received. Dozens of species were already turning against the council. More would follow. The council fears humanity because we represent change, Elena said. We represent the idea that young species can be just as wise as old ones. We represent the idea that might does not make right. We represent the idea that the galaxy belongs to all of us, not just to a few ancient species who think they know better than everyone else. Elena's ship was getting closer to Earth. She could see the blue and green planet growing larger on her screen. I am going home now, Elena said. I am going home to a species that has never conquered another world. I am going home to a species that builds instead of destroys. I am going home to a species that keeps its promises and protects the weak. Elena smiled as Earth filled her screen. The council can threaten us all they want, she said. But threats only work on people who are afraid, and we are not afraid anymore. Elena closed the communication channel and began her landing approach to Earth. As her ship entered the atmosphere, she could see cities and forests and oceans. She could see the home of 6 billion humans who were counting on her to keep them safe, but Elena was not worried about keeping humanity safe anymore. The messages from across the galaxy had shown her something important. Humanity was not alone. Dozens of species were rising up against the Council. The corrupt alliance was falling apart. The lies that had held it together for so long were crumbling. Elena's ship touched down at the spaceport in Geneva, where the Earth government was waiting to meet her. As she walked down the ramp, she saw President Martinez and a crowd of reporters and government officials. "Ambassador Vasquez," President Martinez called out. "The whole galaxy is talking about what you did. What happens now?" Elena looked up at the blue sky above Earth. Somewhere beyond that sky, the galaxy was changing. Species were choosing freedom over fear. Truth was winning against lies. "Now we build something better," Elena said. "The Council's time is over. It is time for a new way of governing the galaxy. A way based on cooperation instead of fear. A way that respects all species, not just the old and powerful ones." Elena walked toward the government building, ready to help plan humanity's next steps. Behind her, the reporters were already sending her words across the galaxy. The Council had wanted to destroy humanity to protect their power. Instead, they had destroyed themselves. And from their ashes, something new and better would grow. The age of the Council was ending. The age of freedom was about to begin. 6 months had passed since Elena's broadcast shocked the galaxy. Now she stood in a different chamber on a different world. But this time she was not alone. The new Galactic Assembly building was not made of cold crystal like the old Council chambers. It was built from materials donated by dozens of species. The walls showed the colors and patterns of 100 different worlds. The seats were arranged in a circle, but not with 12 thrones for ancient powers. Instead, there were representatives from every species in the galaxy that wanted to participate. Elena looked around the room and smiled. So much had changed. After her broadcast, the old Council had tried to hold on to power. Speaker Zix had declared martial law and ordered the Council fleet to attack any species that supported humanity. But the fleet commanders had refused to follow the orders. Many of them had families on worlds that had been conquered by the Kavari. They had seen Elena's evidence and realized they had been serving criminals. The Kavari Empire had been the first to fall. The species they had conquered rose up in rebellion. The Helix colonies freed themselves in just 3 weeks. The Rimwood Federation took back their homeworld in a month. One by one, the stolen worlds returned to their rightful owners. Councillor Grex had tried to flee with stolen treasure from conquered worlds, but his own people had arrested him. The Kavari species was not evil. They had been led by leaders who cared more about power than honor. The new Kavari government had spent months returning stolen property and apologizing to the species their old leaders had hurt. The Zephyrian speaker had also tried to run, but there was nowhere to hide. Every species in the galaxy knew what Speaker Zix had done. The speaker was now in prison, waiting for trial. The Zephyrian people had elected a new government that promised to never again let their leaders make secret deals. 3 other council members had been arrested by their own governments. 2 more had resigned in shame. The remaining council members had tried to form a new government, but no one would listen to them anymore. The old council was dead. The galaxy needed something new. Elena had spent months traveling to different worlds, talking to different species about what kind of government they wanted. The answer was always the same. They wanted fairness. They wanted honesty. They wanted leaders who served the people instead of serving themselves. Now, 6 months later, the new Galactic Assembly was meeting for the first time. Elena was not just an observer anymore. The Assembly had elected her as their first speaker. Not because she was human, but because she had shown the courage to speak truth to power when it mattered most. "Representatives of the galaxy," Elena said, standing at the center of the circular chamber, "we gather today to begin something new, something better than what came before." The chamber was full of different alien species. Some looked like the old council members, but they were different people with different ideas. Others were species that had never been allowed to participate in galactic government before. The old council had only included the oldest and most powerful species. The new assembly welcomed everyone. 6 months ago, this galaxy was ruled by fear and lies, Elena continued. A small group of powerful species made decisions for everyone. Else, they claimed to protect peace, but they ignored aggression when it served their purposes. They claimed to seek justice, but they planned genocide when it suited their goals. Elena looked around the chamber. She could see representatives from species that had been conquered by the Kavari. She could see representatives from species that had been ignored by the old council for centuries. She could see representatives from young species that had never been allowed to have a voice before. Today we begin something different, Elena said. Today we create a government based on cooperation instead of domination. A government that protects the weak instead of serving the strong. A government that tells the truth instead of hiding behind lies. Elena activated a holographic display above her head. It showed the new charter of the Galactic Assembly. The document had taken months to write, with input from hundreds of species. The first principle of our new government is simple, Elena said. No species has the right to conquer another species. No species has the right to steal worlds or enslave people. Any species that attacks another species without provocation will face the combined response of the entire assembly. A cheer went up from the representatives of species that had been conquered by the Kavari. They had waited years for someone to say those words and mean them. The second principle is equality, Elena continued. Every species in this assembly has an equal voice, regardless of how old they are or how many worlds they control. Wisdom does not come from age alone. Good ideas can come from anyone. Elena could see some of the older species looking uncomfortable with this idea. They were used to being in charge because of their age and power. But they had agreed to these principles when they joined the assembly. The third principle is transparency, Elena said. There will be no more secret meetings, no more hidden votes. No more classified communications that plan the destruction of entire species. All assembly business will be conducted in public, where every species can see what their representatives are doing. Elena thought about the secret messages she had discovered 6 months ago. Those messages had revealed the council's corruption, but they had also shown how dangerous secret government could be. These principles are not just words, Elena said. They are promises. Promises that we make to each other and to the galaxy. Promises that we will keep even when it is difficult. Elena paused and looked directly at the camera that was broadcasting this meeting across the galaxy. People of the galaxy, she said. Your representatives are here not to rule over you, but to serve you. We are here not to make decisions for you, but to help you make decisions for yourselves. We are here not to control the galaxy, but to help the galaxy grow and prosper. Elena activated another display. This one showed the first laws that the Assembly would vote on. Our first law will establish the Galactic Justice Tribunal, Elena said. This tribunal will investigate crimes committed by the old council. Counselor. Grex will face trial for the conquest of 23 worlds. Speaker Zix will face trial for conspiracy to commit genocide. Others will face trial for their roles in the corruption that nearly destroyed galactic peace. Elena could see some representatives shifting in their seats. Justice was sometimes uncomfortable even when it was necessary. But this tribunal will not seek revenge, Elena continued. It will seek truth and healing. The goal is not to punish entire species for the crimes of their leaders. The goal is to make sure that these crimes never happen again. Elena looked around the chamber again. These representatives came from species that had been enemies just months ago. Now they were working together to build something better. Our second law will establish the Galactic Development Fund, Elena said. This fund will help species that were damaged by the old council's policies. Worlds that were conquered will receive help rebuilding. Species that were ignored will receive help developing their technology and economy. Young species will receive help learning to participate in galactic civilization. Elena thought about humanity's own journey. Humans had been lucky. They had developed space travel and weapons before. The Council could stop them. Many species had not been so lucky. Our third law will establish the Galactic Defense Force, Elena said. This force will protect all species from aggression. But unlike the old Council fleet, this force will be controlled by the Assembly as a whole, not by a few powerful species. And this force will never be used to attack peaceful species or steal their worlds. Elena closed the holographic displays and looked around the chamber one final time. Representatives, she said, we have a choice to make. We can build something better than what came before, or we can repeat the mistakes of the past. We can choose cooperation over domination. We can choose truth over lies. We can choose justice over power. Elena thought about her home world, Earth, where billions of humans were watching this broadcast. She thought about all the other worlds where billions of other beings were also watching. The galaxy is watching us, Elena said. Future generations will judge us by what we do here today. Let us make sure they judge us well. Elena sat down as the assembly began its first vote. Around her, representatives from across the galaxy raised their hands to support the new laws. Species that had been enemies were now working together. Species that had been ignored were now equal partners. The vote was unanimous. As Elena watched the results appear on the displays, she felt proud of what they had accomplished. The galaxy was no longer ruled by fear and corruption. It was governed by hope and cooperation. The old council had tried to destroy humanity to protect their power. Instead, they had destroyed themselves and given birth to something better. Elena smiled as she thought about the future. There would be challenges ahead, there would be disagreements and difficult decisions. But the galaxy had learned an important lesson. The truth was always stronger than lies. Justice was always stronger than power. And hope was always stronger than fear. The age of the council was over. The age of the assembly had begun.